I must resist the temptation of reading the manga. It is easily one of the hardest things to do if you're enjoying a good show. I said this in my last week's episode review and even my first impressions. When you're having a good time sitting down and watching a good show, it is probably the hardest thing to do. And the reason for that is many might think the enjoyment of the series might be less if you know what's going to happen. But in fact, I think the opposite is more true. That if you read ahead, your enjoyment for the series increases exponentially to where you're able to appreciate the amount of dedication, love, and passion put into a project. And it's clear as day that Studio Cloverworks is putting in a lot of passion for My Dress Up Darlings episodes. Every single episode so far has been just outright beautiful, fantastic, and just put a smile on my face. And so when I look at this episode, the reason why I'm so tempted to read the manga is because I want to know what's going to happen. And the biggest drawback, though, is that when I do read ahead, if I do, I will hit that wall to where there will be no content for me to read anymore. And then I will have to wait week by week for like a new chapter, bi-weekly or whatever. I don't really know when the chapters come out. But the point is that is the biggest flaw of reading ahead, is that you will now be at the exact same wall as an anime only, but much worse, because there is no potential possibility of reading ahead. So that is something to think about. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you haven't seen, I am really enjoying My Dress Up Darling. This is easily one of the highlights of my day, the highlights of the week, and also my weekend. Saturday is one of my favorite days this anime season because My Dress Up Darling is just one of my favorites. It's easily one of my favorites, and I love romance, I love slice of life, I'm a sucker for it. I have made this very clear for a very long time. For years now, I have talked about romance and slice of life anime. I may not always dive into every single episode or every single series that comes out, but I do watch them consistently. They are something I really seek and love. It is something that really got me into manga in the first place. Some of my favorite, manga in general is romance slice of life based. So when I look at My Dress Up Darling, it really hits all those little check boxes that I want from a story. And so far, from 3 episodes in, it navigates around cliches to a point to where I don't have to worry about those typical pitfalls that really devastate a lot of good series. Now, here's the thing, so far from what I'm trying to get at, is that with this episode, there was a pitfall that My Dress Up Darling skirted around, and it did a very good job with it. And that was the sequence with Gojo avoiding Kitagawa. Now, normally in a series that is trying to lengthen its duration, for instance, its manga length, etc., you have it to where the writers will just try to stretch it thin. And this is one of the biggest problems with the romance slice of life genre, is that writers stretch content that should be maybe 2 to 5 chapters into maybe 100 chapters. It's kind of like when you have a character that needs to make a decision with a romance choice, but they stretch it for 100 plus chapters when it could easily be settled in a single chapter. That's the point I'm getting at. So when Gojo was avoiding, Kitagawa this week, it could have been lengthened to the entirety of the episode. For instance, the episode could have ended off to where Gojo finally sat down and talked with Kitagawa about, he just doesn't want rumors to spread to make her look bad. But obviously, this series respects your time, and it respects you, it respects, in general, just good writing, and it doesn't want to waste your time. And so, it manages to settle that entire plot point very quickly, and Kitagawa was very direct, and it's like, okay, why are you avoiding me and all that? And, he is direct as well. It's like, the reason why is there's rumors that are gonna spread, they're gonna talk, say, we're going out. And Kitagawa, as a character, really made me smile when she replied with, oh, so maybe we should go out. And she smiles, teasing, Gojo, and it's a very cute scene, because it really opens up the doorway for Kitagawa as a character, really seeing who she is, that, maybe she was half joking about going out with him, but at the same time, she wouldn't really be against it if rumors actually spread, and I do appreciate that about her character. She's very wholesome and very strong-willed, and it once again makes me wonder what happened in her past to make her like that, because I don't think everybody is just completely born like that. Something had to have happened, and I feel like because of her hobbies, what she's into, something happened to her where she had to go through something very similar that Gojo has went through, but she overcame it in such a different way to where she's just more open or strong-willed about it, and I can't wait to finally get that backstory when it is eventually revealed for Kitagawa's character. But for now, though, I love just her entire nature. I know many might be quick to look at just her as a eye candy character, for instance, for fan service, because we do get a lot of fan service with her. I mean, last week is telling enough, and we did get some fies in this episode of My Dress-Up Darling. So people are going to be like, yo, she's a beautiful character, and that's all they're really probably going to care about. But in general, I really love Kitagawa just for that enjoyable personality she has, that connection she has with Gojo. So let's dive a little bit deeper into that. The reason why I think Kitagawa and Gojo's connection as characters is just so perfect is how they're able to relay their passion with each other. And I relate with this a lot. And to clarify what I'm getting at is that Kitagawa got ahead of herself and just started talking, going instantly, just continuously talking when she was talking about her passion of cosplaying, etc. You could just see that she got really just taken aback and was just enjoying finally being able to sit down and talk with someone about it. And I understand that feeling because, like, look at behind me. I love talking about my passion. I love talking about anime. I love talking about manga. And sadly, I don't have that many interactions in real life to talk about that passion, but it's one of the big driving reasons why I'm here right now on YouTube, is to talk with you guys, the community, because I love talking about anime and manga and expressing my love for it, and seeing you guys in the comments and all that, being able to talk with all of you, it's fun. It's super fun. One of the biggest highlights of my entire life. And so I understand where Kitagawa is coming from when she, starts just expressing her passion. When she's just saying, oh, she loves cosplay, she's talking about these characters, she's talking about the outfits, and she's just talking about these different individual cosplayers. I understand where she's coming from and why she just wants to express that love and joy, and I find it very endearing. And Gojo is the exact same way. He is someone that also enjoys being able to make the dolls. He enjoys being able to talk about what he loves, and he doesn't normally get to talk about it as well. And I feel like if there is one thing that does need to be talked about a little bit deeper, though, is that I noticed many are focusing on Kitagawa's cosplaying segments, but I feel like Gojo also needs time to be able to talk about his passion. And I feel like that's going to be one of the biggest crucial drama plot points for the story, is that, Kitagawa is great. I love that she's able to express herself, but at the same time, Gojo is not able to express what he loves in every single conversation as well. So I wonder if that's going to be something that's going to pop up soon, or if I'm just thinking too deep about it. But just the character interactions in general is just blessed. That is the best way to really just describe it in general. But also, the beginning sequence is just something that really says how much of a keeper Kitagawa is. And what I mean by that is when she was going around trying to find Gojo, she was just yelling out his name in empty rooms, etc. And I laughed. And it's one of the most refreshing feelings, being able to just sit back in my chair and laugh. From the bottom of my heart, just laugh and all that, and just smile. It is so fun. And I feel like everybody understands that feeling, when you really can just enjoy something and smile and laugh because it's just fun. And that is why I think Saturday is easily one of my favorite days of this anime season, because My Dress-Up Darling kept me like that the entire time, from start to finish, until the ending sequence started to roll, and then the pain of potentially wanting to read ahead, kind of set in. So yeah, just all I want to say is that so far this series has been really good, and I love the cosplay segments, finding out a little bit more about that, and just how much effort Gojo is putting into the project, and really not wanting to slack on it by any means. And especially, I do like how he found out he has a deadline, that, he has 2 weeks to make the outfit. And I don't know much about making cosplay outfits and all that, but I do know that making stuff, like weaving clothing together and stuff, could take potentially months, depending on just how much passion and the product and stuff you put into it. So 2 weeks sounds very excessive, very short ways away, and I feel like Gojo is really going to be going many nights without sleep to actually make that outfit for Kitagawa. So I am very curious to see how that's handled in the upcoming episodes, and just how much of a struggle he's actually going to have. But I guess that's pretty much about it. The big point I just want to get across is that if you have still yet to start My Dress-Up Darling, stop what you're doing. Go watch it. It's good. It's really good. Even if you're not a romance, slice-of-life fan, it is a good show. Studio Cloverworks is knocking it out of the park, and they continuously show that they're really good with art and animation and just story structure. Now, as I've been saying every single week, this can easily change. I mean, Studio Cloverworks does have a track record where they can go off the rails very quickly without any warning, and it just becomes bad. Like, just the anime in general becomes really bad. I mean, Promised Neverland, Wonder Egg Priority, etc. Stuff like that is an obvious example to how Cloverworks can easily just, take a show that was doing so well and just steer it into like a pit. But I don't really think that My Dress Up Darling is going to fall into that category. But, like I've been saying, anything can happen. I just feel like everybody should keep that in mind while watching the show. But I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you had any form of entertainment while watching this video, then, please leave me a like. It does help me out a lot. It allows my content to help with the algorithm, like it appears more in, the YouTube feed. And if you do want more of my content to appear in your YouTube feed, hit that subscribe button down below. It does help me out. But with that, guys, be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.